I'm going to be going over how to install Windows 11 on any computer. Now, of course, if you already have Windows 10, you can upgrade directly to Windows 11. And the easiest way to do that is if you go to the Start menu, head over to the Settings, and go into Update and Security. Here, you will see if your PC can run Windows 11, and you can upgrade it right from here. And that's, of course, going to be the easiest way to do so. If your Windows 10 computer cannot go to Windows 11 and it doesn't meet the minimum requirements, I'll be making another video on how to bypass that, so stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. Now, to get Windows 11 on your computer, there's actually going to be 3 things that we need. Number 1 is going to be a USB drive, and you can see mine here. It's currently plugged into my computer. Number 2 is a piece of software called Rufus. We will go over that in a little bit. And the third thing is the .iso image for Windows. And I'm going to show you how to get those 2 pieces of software right now. So head over to your internet browser. You could just type in Rufus, and it'll probably be the first link here. Then we're going to scroll down to where it says download and hit this standard download. You can ignore this ad and it should start right away. It's very quick. It should pop up in just a couple seconds after launching, and this is Rufus. Now, the second thing we need is Windows 11 ISO. You can, again, just type that into Google and hit the very first link. Now, you'll see a couple options. You'll have the installation assistant, you'll have installation media, and you'll have the ISO. We can actually do Windows 11 installation media or the ISO, and they both kind of walk you through the same thing. We're going to do the ISO for now, and we can just select our language, hit confirm, and you should have the 64-bit download available. And while we're at it, I can also show you how the installation media works. Again, it's going to be kind of the same way, where it basically incorporates Rufus into this. And once you get this menu, we can go through these options, hit accept, go next, and then here are your 2 options. So we're installing the ISO file for a separate way to do this, and there's also a USB flash drive option. Of course, we want it to be at least 8 GB, as it says here. Go next. This is our USB drive. Again, go next. And then it's going to start downloading Windows 11 on the USB drive for you. Now, I'm going to cancel this just to show you the Rufus method, but technically both of these things get you into the same exact spot, so you can do either one. So now on to the Rufus portion of this. Again, I'm showing you guys this because you may have some custom ISO images, or maybe you're trying to do Linux instead of Windows and you don't have the media creation tool on hand. So that's when you would actually use this tool to get you to a bootable USB drive. So the very first thing is, after opening the software, you're going to select the ISO image that you're targeting. And then, of course, selecting the USB device up here. And that's it. You can leave everything as defaults here. You can change the volume label to something that makes sense to you, and just hit start. Keep everything as default. Now, after Rufus completes, or you completed with the media creation tool, you can go ahead and close this, and you should look at your USB, and it should look something just like this. Again, to get to the USB, you would go to this PC, and it'll be named whatever you just named it in Rufus, or whatever the USB name was before you did the media creation tool. And again, it should look just like this. And now this is your bootable USB drive. This is completely done. So now all we got to do is plug it into your computer and boot into either the startup menu or the BIOS. Now, to boot into the BIOS, we would be shutting off our computer, starting it up, and using the boot up key. And now every computer has a different boot up key depending on the motherboard. And here's a quick list for different manufacturers and examples of what the boot up key might be. It's usually between F12, escape, delete, F2. Usually when you start up the computer, it'll tell you which one this is really quickly in the beginning. If it doesn't tell you that, then you could probably just spam all of these keys until you get one correct. And once you get it correct, you'll notice right away that it'll start either booting into the BIOS menu, or it's going to boot into a startup menu. Now, for a quick reference, this would be like an MSI boot menu. This is what it would look like in general. And you should see something like the USB as one of the options. And if you get into the BIOS, it might look something like this. Again, they're always going to look different, and you're just going to look for where it shows the boot settings, and you're going to make sure that your boot settings have your boot option number 1 as the USB. So once again, every computer is different. If you need help, just leave a comment below. I'd be happy to help you guys, but you could probably look up some documentation or something for your specific computer and figure out how to get to the boot up menu for the USB. Now I'm gonna assume here you guys got through that BIOS stuff, got to the startup menu and started with the USB that you plugged into your new computer or old computer, however you are planning on upgrading. And you should be left with this old school looking start menu. And we're gonna go through these settings. Go ahead and hit install now. Now for Windows activation keys, you actually don't need to activate Windows. Windows is technically free. You will just end up with a really annoying watermark on your screen, but you can use pretty much all the other features. So you can purchase a product key. They're like 30 bucks nowadays. You can also just hit I don't have a product key and deal with that stuff later. And another quick tip, if your computer had a version of Windows on it previously, it should be able to hold onto that license and still use Windows 11 fully licensed automatically. The license key is technically stored on the BIOS and not on your hard drive. So when you actually install the correct version, again, you're going to want to make sure it's Home, Pro, Education, stuff like that. Like you need to make sure it's the same version of Windows, but it can be the upgraded one. So it'll be Windows 8 Home to Windows 11 Home. You can't do Windows 8 Home to Windows 11 Pro. So make sure if you did have Windows previously that it matches the same version. So with that being said, we're just going to continue on. I'll do Windows 11 Pro. Accept this, hit next. We could do a custom install here. And if you have a bunch of drives, if you wanted to, you can totally wipe them. You would just click this and hit delete and make sure all of the drives are fully deleted. Again, this is totally wiping your computer and doing a fresh install of Windows. If you weren't planning on wiping your computer, do not do this method. You're going to want to be upgrading your computer. That is using a different method, using the Windows Assistant and not what I'm showing you here. So go ahead and hit next. And we're going to be installing Windows 11. Now, after Windows 11 is installed, we should be here at this screen, and I'll take you guys just going through this to make sure that we're fully finished with installing Windows 11, getting it fully configured through the out-of-the-box experience. So just go ahead and hit yes, yes, next, skip, wait out these checking for updates. And another quick tip, your computer will likely restart during this. And if it does, make sure you pop out your USB stick because that part is completed and you don't want it to start trying to boot from the USB again. You want it to boot from the hard drive. Now we can start naming our computer. I'm just going to skip all these steps because of course you can customize this and do what you want. I'm going to do personal. If you don't already have a Microsoft account, we can just click create one, get a new email address, and just go ahead and continue with this stuff. Now, just go ahead and hit set up as a new PC, go next, and create a pin if we want to. No, there's a ton of settings here to get this thing started, but they are not too bad. And after you get through this whole setup process, decline all the things that Microsoft is trying to sell for you, and we're finished with the video. You have Windows 11 now. If you guys have any issues, again, please comment down below and like, subscribe if this has helped you at all. So thanks again for watching and stay tuned for more.